So the guy who ran this poll, Gary Langer, the political director who's writing the story, felt the need to put in a proviso saying that the polls are practically meaningless this early on. Now, if this poll had shown Hillary trouncing Trump, this proviso would not be here. In this poll that they show Hillary doing so well, she only does well among women. And even at that, she is really bleeding white women.
The king of talk radio, our friend Rush Limbaugh, criticizing ABC News for that organization underreporting its own poll numbers concerning Hillary Clinton. The ABC News Washington Post poll found but failed to mention Mrs. Clinton has dropped 29 points among white Democratic women in just 8 weeks. In July, she had the support of 71% of women, but now that has dropped to just 42%. So what does all this mean for Hillary and the Democrats going forward? For more, let's welcome the great American conservative activist, author, and founder of the Eagle Forum, Phyllis Schlafly, who Skypes in from St. Louis. Phyllis, as always, it's great for you to spend some time with us here on Newsmax Prime.
Hello, J.D. Good to join you.
Well, Phyllis, let's take a look at Hillary's situation. She is dropping like a rock, even though she tries to play the gender card. What's her problem?
Well, the Democrats don't want her. That's the problem. And they don't know how to get rid of her. They have a real problem that way because she thought she owned the party.
Well, you see that problem there for Hillary, who was really anointed as the Democratic front runner and all but given the nomination back before the campaign actually started. Phyllis, in your mind, is this a situation where the Republicans can actually pick up a good group of these women voters?
Well, I think that is right. There are a lot of women who just simply don't trust Hillary. She doesn't pass the trustworthy test. And I think we may have a situation this year where the Republican candidate is actually chosen by the delegates who go to the convention in Cleveland. That will be a first in many years because most of the time people who think they're important decided ahead of time who the nominee was be, and they've given us a bunch of losers. So this time the grassroots want to pick their own candidate.
And you believe it's going to go right down to the convention?
Yes, I really do. And I think that's a good thing because we do believe that it ought to be the members of the Republican Party who pick the nominee, not a few rich guys in a back room.
Well, let's talk about the lone female Republican candidate, Carly Fiorina. She put out an ad taking on both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, albeit not by name, on women's issues. In that ad, she said the Republican Party is, quote, the party of women's suffrage, saying we don't view women as a special interest group, but as the majority of voters. With Carly proving such an effective Clinton critic and counterpuncher to so many of the men running in this campaign, what do you believe will become of Ms. Fiorina in her presidential efforts?
Well, I don't know that she will get the nomination for president. She might get the nomination for vice president, but in any event, she's an extremely attractive candidate, and she is a perfectly wonderful answer to Hillary because she's so much different from Hillary in so many ways. We're proud of Carly Fiorina.
Well, we spoke about Hillary a second ago. We would be remiss if we did not show you what she's up to on the campaign trail. There she was in Iowa yesterday, pledging to fight for women's rights. Let's take a listen, and then we'll get your reaction afterwards.
And every single one of them wants to defund Planned Parenthood. No! Well, I just wish they'd go meet the mom who caught her breast cancer early because she got screened. Or the teenager who avoided an unintended pregnancy because she had access to birth control. I'm not going to let them shame and blame women.
So there is Hillary sticking up for Planned Parenthood despite those horrifying videos.
Ought to kill the whole funding for Planned Parenthood because they are so revolting. The whole idea of cutting up body parts, baby parts, and then selling them on the market is just so gross. I can hardly believe it's happening in the United States, and it ought to stop.
Phyllis, there wasn't a lot made of it, but during my days in Congress, I remember we had quite a few Democrats in the pro-life caucus. Might we see those pro-life Democrats, given Hillary's backing of Planned Parenthood and Mr. Obama sticking with that organization rather than working to defund it, is there a chance we will see those pro-life Democrats cross over to vote for Republicans in much the same way so-called Reagan Democrats did that in the 80s? Got about a minute left.
There is a chance, considering that the pictures are so gross that they must turn off a lot of Democrats who have been supporting Planned Parenthood.
And it is the whole nature of this, because even people who are pro-choice, we got some pro-life legislation passed on the Hill with some Democrats coming along with us, so perhaps we will see that again, as you point out, given the graphic nature of those horrifying videotapes. Phyllis Schlafly, as always, we appreciate your contributions to the conservative movement and your contributions to this program tonight. Thank you so much for Skyping in from St. Louis.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless.
And you too, Phyllis. Well, you heard what Phyllis had to say. Do you agree with her? Well, if you do or don't, you can still let us know. Send your comments to newsmaxtv.com/comments. My comment to you, stay with us. We'll be back right after this.